Welcome to the tips and tricks how to rig an HPH TwinShark. Let's get started. Before actually rigging the glider, we start with some preparations. First of all, we clean and grease all these connecting parts. At the fuselage here, the main bolt, the elevator, and also the inner and the outer wings. One important part as well is this bolt here for the horizontal stabilizer. We also clean it and grease it. From time to time you can also put some grease here on these bearings, and of course we clean these here. In the cockpit, set the flap lever to 0, the brake lever into the middle position, and close the water ballast. One important thing is that you don't lower the main wheel before we have the wings attached. Otherwise, if the hydraulic system here fails and the fuselage is sitting on here on the main wheel, the fuselage can fall down to the ground to the side. So that's why we don't lower the main gear now, and we will lift here the hydraulics so that we can lower the main wheel afterwards, after we attach the wings. Otherwise it is very heavy. It would work as well, but it's easier like this. So for the TwinShark we will use here a one-man rigging aid from EMI Gliding. We start with the right wing, and I will give you here the position where you should place the one-man rigging aid. It is in the center of the main spar here. That's the perfect place for the CG of the wing. One tip for the one-man rigging aid: don't inflate the wheels completely, so it is better to have them a little bit softer so that it is flexible and the wing can move. We will now rig the TwinShark with 2 persons because it is safer. We will unlock here this fixture so that we can adjust the height. Now it is important that you put some pressure here on the front and perhaps help lifting on the rear. And we will slowly try to get in here. And look at all the connections. Perfect. Now it is time to check if this main spar here is in the middle of this cutout in the fuselage. Now it is too high here on the wing, so we need to lower the wing. I think that's a little bit higher. That's okay. Yeah, perfect. One important thing is to remember that you should put the wing support here more to the rear side of the wing, so that it will unload slightly on the rear side of the wing, because there it is heavier. As you can see here, this gap between the wing and the fuselage is not consistent, so we need to adjust the angle of the wing. You need to go more to the rear side. It is important to lift here the flap so that these connections are in the center as well. Now the gaps here on both sides are equal. The last thing we need to have a look is the height of the wings. But we start with the right-hand bolt first, which is aligned now. Then we lock it here. A little bit more down. Let's continue with the outer wings. We need this special tool here to unlock this handle, to remove this handle. You now need to rotate it pull it out, and then we have the handle. Here it is important that it is not rotated by 90 degrees, only let's say by 80 or 70 degrees, because the outer wing will hit then this pin. Here it is very important that these two pins are aligned here for the flaps. Of course, it is good to grease this bolt as well, and then you can also use some force to push it in and then rotate it. Always when you're working at the glider, take care with the canopy. If there's wind from the side, you can damage the hinges here, because these hinges are created so that the canopy will fall away if you make a bailout. And also it is important that you lock the canopy here on the ground, because if there's wind from the side, the canopy can flip over and also break the hinges and damage the canopy. Before you attach the elevator, it is very important to check here if you have ballast in this compartment. For the double-seater configuration, you need here this weight. For a single-seater flight, you don't need it, or it is mandatory not to have in there. It's a heavy one. When attaching the elevator, it is important that you have a look at these connections here between the elevator and these ones here. And then of course all the other parts must align as well. And then we will also lift up this mylar ceiling here so that it will go on top of this. And then we use this lubricated bolt and use this big Allen key here as well. Make sure the bolt is fully and firmly tightened, but of course also not too much force. Let's attach the multi-probe. And the multi-probe should be aligned here horizontally. And you can also apply here some tape to secure it. It is finally time to lower the landing gear, but first we need to plug in here the batteries. The landing gear and this LED is directly connected to the battery, so it is very important to unplug your batteries after flying. Before you lower the landing gear, you need to check that the landing gear doors are free of this part here, so they can open and won't get damaged. Take care that the glider is lifted high enough so that when you lower the landing gear, it won't lift the glider. So there should not be any pressure on the wheel when you lower it, because otherwise you can damage the mechanism. So we will start now by lifting it up even more. Then we use this switch here to lower it. We can now check here the landing gear doors again. That's fine. And we are high enough. So here is some room below the wheel. And then you can also check here that the landing gear is lowered on this LED. Here next to the landing gear on the right hand side, there is a drain valve so that you can have a look if there is water in the fuel. Now we can lower the glider to the ground and then we can push it backwards. Always be careful here with this system. Okay. We finished rigging the TwinShark. Now it is time to seal the gaps with tape. For more tips and tricks, watch our other videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.